Out the Window. My name is Anthony.
My name is Bree.
And the main thing for our show, Out the Window, is to discuss mainstream political issues, but in a less formal setting. So you still get that reporting aspect while you still get the commentary.
And on today's episode, we're going to be going over if the media is actually informing us the correct way, and also, or are we listening to what we want to hear rather than going out of our way and actually hearing what's going on in this beautiful city of ours in our country.
Most definitely. And just as FYI, we're in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., so we get the freshest of scoops when it comes to all things politics. But to answer the question, I personally feel that we are more informed, but we also are only hearing the news we want to hear. Specifically, it was some information that I found in regards to the topic from Statista, why is statistics such a hard word?
Such a hard word.
So, and then when you put a play on it, it's just extremely complicated. But following the 2016 election, they found that in 2016, Fox News was of their surveyed persons, that Fox News was their main source. But then number 3 was Facebook. So
that's a huge argument right there. I mean, how can you get all of your information from social media if you don't necessarily even know where that information is coming from? I know with Twitter, for instance, you're shooting out tweets left and right, and how do you know if the people following you, where you're getting that information from?
True.
So I think that's my biggest thing when it comes to social media, is you just can't really trust it, and you have to be open-minded and willing to look at other media sources.
Definitely.
Rather than just ones that may lean fully left or fully right. And you have to be able to get the whole picture.
Definitely, I definitely say in regards if you're not getting the full picture, you kind of lose, regardless of if it's social media or not. You have to, because you just have to get both sides, because one thing that was crucial when I was taking debate was you have to be prepared for not only what you have to say, but the things that your opponent may say. So a large part of that, we'll go into maybe a little bit of our next topic, is with social media and things are we losing our trust in the media with things like that? Because I mean, with all the fake news and alternative facts and things, so it's can we still trust the media?
I don't know. It's a toss-up. It really is. There's so many sides to that story that I feel like one day I'm oh, I can trust it. The next I'm I can't trust this at all.
Definitely.
I just feel like it depends where you're looking and who you're speaking to, who you're listening to. And I think it's just very important that you are getting every side of the story, like I had said earlier, because then if you're only looking at one, then you're closing your mind off to it, and you don't want to hear the bad stuff that's going on, or you only want to hear what's good for your party, which at the end of the day, you're not gonna grow in knowledge for that. How is media tools changing the ground of politics? And
definitely.
A very, very good website, Report Garden, talks about rumors and fake news, and I know that makes it much easier to have that when you're on the spotlight at all times, especially if you're working for a campaign and you have your Twitter handle, your Instagram, your Facebook, and you're trying to run a campaign for someone. And I know this talks about it right here. It says social media has actually made it really difficult to separate actual news from fake news. And
then another thing that some people aren't taking into account, they misconstrue fake news with, I guess, from the eyes of who the news is about, as I guess you would say misrepresented news, where you don't necessarily like the way the article was written, but if the article is fair, you don't necessarily have the right to call that fake news. It's just you don't like the perspective of it.
Yep, or the tone of the article that
definitely.
It's going at. Yep.
But when another aspect when it comes to changing the political grounds in terms of just as an overall thing, I know that back in 2017, the Washington Post published this article talking about how social media is also changing the politics, right after the campaigns and everything. And how Representative Ted Lieu posted a political cartoon trying to explain to Donald Trump about the U.S.'s allies and their their opponents, and I guess this kind of opened. I personally feel around this time that the intersection between politics and social media almost not to be frank, when they collided, it kind of made it childish almost. Like,
Yes.
like people are taking like to social media to use memes against each other, like clapping back, and I'm just like, these are people's lives.
I think that's another thing that social media brings in, though. We can't separate professional and personal lives, and we've seen
Right.
that a lot recently on where people are just coming at people that work for Trump, for instance, and they're coming at them in their personal lives. It's just
Definitely.
like the personal feelings and the professional feelings. It's just the world has collided from social media, and it's made it extremely hard for us to separate them almost.
Definitely, I would.
I mean, there are so many good things about social media that we kind of hide because we're looking at all the bad.
You're right.
But like, for instance, demographics. We can target demographics so much easier through social media. Whether it's Facebook, which is normally like it's an older group. Twitter, we're gonna go mid-20s, late 30s.
Shout out to the millennials.
Instagram, all millennials, young, like that's where you're getting them in, and that's how you're getting those information out there, and it's doing a great job in that aspect. But then there also are the negative sides to it. So you win some, you lose some. It's really hard.
But I think like one of the biggest things has been like the direct interaction with our candidates and voters.
Yeah.
Like I personally feel like that's been like the best thing to happen, because like I know that in smaller towns and smaller areas candidates can go like door to door to people, but I mean
Yes.
personally just living in North Carolina, we have I know that we're top 10 in regards to like population in the country, so I mean our senators and our representatives, they
Exactly.
can't come and meet us, so I mean social media is like the best thing that we can honestly get in close to like in regards to like personal contact.
Yeah, and I mean, it depends on what type of race it is. If it's presidential, it's hard to get to all the states. It's hard. You can't, and
How?
you have to figure out which ones you're going to make those personal connections with, and that's hard for the people that aren't getting them. But in another instance, you're using social media, and that's the way that you're going to connect. I mean, if it's if it's in your city or your hometown, it might be a little easier, but I've worked on campaigns where I'm in a city of 16,000, and that's still hard for
Right.
the candidate to get out to every door and to every section of the city.
Definitely.
So social media has created that personal link between the candidates and their citizens, but then it comes with its bad sides too.
Well, I think that in regards to our subject matter today, I think right now is a good stopping place, I think, because, as mass communication majors, we'll be up here talking for the next 3 days, and we still haven't answered some of the main
We're not gonna
questions. So thank you for tuning in with us today on Out the Window. Once again, I'm your host, Anthony.
I am Bree, and we hope to see you back with us tomorrow.